And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Rafael Garcia, who during his near-death experience saw the 11 dimensions, which we're going to learn about today and more. Rafael, thank you for joining me and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. It's my pleasure, and thank you so much for inviting me today and sharing all my experience, my NDE with your audience, and I'm really just wanted to congratulate you for everything you do and with your show, because you're spreading the messages, and you've definitely been sent down to this realm to spread and to help with the ascension of the planet. So I just wanted to, it's really an honor to meet you and to be a part of this, of your, the collective, helping the collective ascend. So thank you so much for putting your platform, your podcast. Just wanted to really, congratulate you for that.
Well, thank you, Rafael, and it's my honor to have you as a guest.
Thank you so much.
On that note, let's start on the day that you had your NDE and go from there.
Yeah, of course. So I have my NDE in 2004. And in my experience, I was laying in my room, and all of a sudden I felt an energy that came for me. And I knew this energy, it was like a cloud above me. And then I knew at that point that it was here for my soul and that it was time to go. And then after that, I saw the light, which a lot, all the NDEs or most of the NDEs talk about seeing the light. And so as soon as I saw the light, I completely felt this bliss and love and joy, and I left my body, and then I went into the light. And as I went into the light, I traveled like in a wormhole, like in a tunnel of light. And then all of a sudden, I'm on the afterlife. And as I'm there, I have my family members that are waiting for me on the other side, and it's the welcoming party where everybody's kind of like smiling and laughing and just really joyful to see you. And so it's a really warm experience, because you feel like it's, you feel like, oh my, I'm not dead. And I'm here's all my family members on the other side, and they're all happy and smiling. And I mean, so that was the first thing I saw, my family on the other side. And then after they gave me the welcome party, for a little while, then they all left, and then they say, we'll see you soon. We'll see you later. And I was like, okay. And then after that, I saw a door in the light in the chamber, and I just knew that that's what I had to go. And so as I went into that door, into that chamber, I went inside, and then inside the chamber was it was like a circle, like a sphere, like an auditorium, small, like a small auditorium, but pretty small. But and then I went inside, and as I went inside, I saw all these beings. There were 12 beings actually. They're called the Council of Light, or the Elders, that a lot of NDEs talk about. And then I saw them; they were all there, and they were all like happy and smiling. And after I saw them, they showed me the life review. And when so I was able to see my life review, and then at that point too, they showed me a circle with like I was in a space where I saw myself, my higher self, and then I saw a circle around me with thousands of lifetimes, and each one of those lifetimes was like in a capsule, and I could see in each one of those capsules was like a life, and I could see like different screens in each one of those capsules. And then I realized that each one of them had been a different lifetime, a past lifetime. But then I realized at that point that all lifetimes are actually happening at the same time. And then I saw that I still had 6 more lifetimes to complete the whole cycle of reincarnation. But it was really interesting to see that all lifetimes really are happening all at the same time. So a lot of NDEs will talk about that. Yeah, that all the time doesn't really exist in the afterlife. That is, all lifetimes are really happening at the same time. And then so they show me the life review, and then they show me all my parallel lives that were all happening at the same time. And then at that point, then I realized that each one of those capsules represented like a different virtue or lesson that we're here to master. So, when they show me, when I show kindness to someone, that in that life review, then one of those beings kind of lit up. And then I realized that was like that virtue, or that council represented that virtue. So it was like, showing kindness. And then another, and then another one was compassion. Another was, courage, letting go, forgiveness, like all the virtues that we're here to learn. I realized that they're all lessons that we choose, their soul contracts and lifetime after lifetime after lifetime to eventually master the lessons. And that's when you master the lessons, is when you become an ascended master in this, the whole thing with the ascended masters, or you become one of the council of lights. So that's what I came to realize. And then after that, after seeing the life review and seeing all the parallel lives, I ended up going into, so they're like congratulating me, and then I was like, I was really happy, and then also three beings of light came, and then they told me that they showed me what it's like, what happens after we finish the whole cycle of reincarnation, which I would love to share with the audience, because I thought that was really important and really interesting. So they showed me that once we finish the cycle of reincarnation, that we finished the school in this universe. And then like they show me, and then there was a door in the same door that I came into the chamber with the council light. They showed me, they say, now we can step outside the chamber. And then as we came out of the chamber, I realized that the chamber was the universe, our universe. And then they told me, once you finish the cycle, you still have a few more lifetimes, but once you finish the cycle of reincarnation, this is what comes next. And they showed me that after we finish the cycle of reincarnation, that there's other universes or schools that we can go to. And then one of those schools or universes was like the school where we become creators. Like we become kind of like creators of planets and creators of galaxies, creators of universes. So that was that school, that you start becoming a creator. And then there was another school where you could become like an Akashic record keeper of the universe, of the multiverse. So they understand the fabric of how all the information is stored across the universe and the different multiverses. And then there was another school where once you graduate the whole cycle of reincarnation, then you can go to other planets with more advanced civilizations, where you use instantly teleportation, telepathy. You can work, you can communicate with different star systems, and so you can also have that option to incarnate in a different planet as a more advanced being. And so that's what I was shown, and then after that, I went into the after we left there, then they told me you can go this way. And then I saw the Akashic records. And when and then I saw these the Akashic records keepers, or they're like really large beings that they're in charge of the Akashic records. And then I saw them, and then I knew that all my lifetimes, they were all stored in there. And after I, and then they came and they gave me a book. And when I opened the book, it was the book of Earth. And I was able to see the future of Earth. And it was really interesting because I saw how all the continents are going to eventually create unions, like the European Union. Then they're going to create the American Union. They're going to create the Asian Union, the African Union, and eventually all will become one planet. There will be no more borders, no more poverty. It'll be everyone working for the collective, and everybody will ascend in consciousness as well. Reincarnation will be completely, like that'll be the norm, and people will be, at a higher level of consciousness. So I was able to see that, from the planet Earth. And then after that, I was able to, they told me, okay, now you can go to your group or levels of dimensions. So I realized that there were 11 dimensions, and I realized that that's, kind of like where all souls evolve. That there's like the different levels of dimensions that we all evolve from. And so I was able to see that. And then I ended up coming back from my NDE. And then later on, as I started having my awakening of consciousness. So basically, I started having more experiences, and then I started having, a lot of out-of-body experiences, and I started, having out of body experiences in my room, and then started going into different places. And then I started basically going into the 11th dimensions, which is what I like to talk about with you more.
Rafael, thank you for sharing your experience. If we go back to the beginning, you were lying in your bed and then you saw a cloud or something, right?
Right.
Were you like under some type of distress, or what was it that precipitated this and caused it all to happen? What was going on with your life?
No, there was nothing really going on. The way I interpret that whole experience was basically my initiation of my awakening. So it's like your initiations basically it's where you start you're being unplugged from the matrix, basically. So it's your higher self unplugging you from the matrix. And it's basically, that's how I like to interpret it, because I didn't have any issues in my health or any accidents or nothing like that. So it was my higher self unplugging me from the matrix, like in the movie The Matrix, and showing me, the reality of what really we are, and the whole, everything with, the higher dimensions, and what it's really like. And so that's how I interpret it. It was more like the initiation of my soul, that it was time for me to start my awakening. So that was the beginning of my awakening. So for me, the NDEs is kind of like the beginning of your awakening.
Was the cloud like some type of energy or something that helped pull you out of your body?
Yeah, yes, it was an energy. And then it was the light, So first it was just, I felt an energy, and then all of a sudden the energy just turned into the light. And then that's when I felt all the love and the bliss. And then that's when I was like, I want to go. When people, they have the NDE, and when they see that the light and that love and the bliss, you don't question it. You just go. You want to go into the light, because the love is beyond anything you could ever felt in this realm, on earth. So it's like you really want to go. So yeah, so that's recently, it was just my initiation for my awakening.
Now, when you were there, I think you said you saw thousands of lifetimes. Is that correct?
Yeah, I saw thousands of lifetimes that I had. And then later on, through my, so later on, once I had my NDE, then I started with my awakening, my experiences. So then later on, I started going back into that space, and then I started, connecting to my higher self, and then my higher self started then I went into those capsules or those lifetimes, and I started going into different ones, and I was able to, it was really fascinating, because as I went into, I remember the first capsule, the first lifetime I went into, it was in, I went in Scandinavia, in Sweden. And as I went into the capsule, I traveled like a comet, it's like coming on Earth. I was just flying. And then all of a sudden I see the Earth. And then all of a sudden I see this landscape of this country in Sweden. And then all of a sudden I'm flying in, I see all this, the trees, the nature, the countryside. And then I see this little village. And then I see this little house. And then I go inside, and then I see this family, this man with his wife, his kids. And then I go inside that Viking, and then I realized that was me in that lifetime. And then I went out again, and then I went in, and so then my higher self showed me many different lifetimes where, then another time. And the way you travel is like you travel like in a wormhole. So you're come one with your higher self, and then you travel like in a wormhole, and you go into one of those capsules, and then that's a lifetime. And then another time, in another lifetime, I was in Greece, creating democracy. So I was in Greece, and then in another lifetime, I was like different things. So I was like a slave one lifetime. Another one, I was a soldier, and in another lifetime, I was a king. And then in a different lifetime, I was a banker buying different lands, and it's just like many different lifetimes that I was able to see. And then I was also able to see a future lifetime, which I thought that was really interesting. And in that future lifetime, I'm going to be living in London, and then in the future, I saw how, people are going to be like, I saw holograms, and you're going to be able to buy your apartment in Mars, and go live in Mars and go live in different planets, and you will be living in different planets. And then I realized that was my future lifetime. But I realized that again, that all lifetimes are happening at the same time. They're just happening at different frequencies. But there is some kind of linear, the way I've seen it, was shown to me, there is an evolution of the soul that although they're all happening at the same time, there is a beginning and then it goes around a circle toward the end. And the more, as you evolve, as you go in lifetime, you evolve and you learn, you master the lessons, you become a master, you start becoming a master. So until you finish the whole cycle. And then that's when you become an ascended master, and that's when all your lifetimes start being revealed, and then that's when you start, graduating to those other realms, of those other universes, where you have the option of becoming a being in a different planet, more as a more advanced being, or start creating planets and galaxies and all this stuff. So that's what I was shown, and then also later on through my awakening. Then I started exploring, and I was shown the 11 dimensions and that the evolution that we all go, like for me, according to me and my experiences, we all evolve from dimension 1 to dimension 11. So that's kind of how we as sentient beings, we all evolve from dimension 1 to dimension 11. Right now we're in dimension 3 as humans, but I was shown that dimension 1, it's like the quantum realm, the atoms. And I was able to go into that realm. Now, in all my experiences, I was able to become all these entities. So I was able to become the atom in the quantum realm. So as an atom, when I became an atom, it was really fascinating because I saw myself as the atom, and then I became the center of the atom. And then I realized that there was all these codes flying around inside the atom, this is something I want to share with the world, because I don't know how many people have seen this. So, but it's something where I kind of like in the Matrix, it's the same thing, the same symbols like in the Matrix. Those exact symbols are all over the atom. So it was really fascinating as the atom, seeing that there's all the symbols that are going through the atom, and they're just symbols of energy where all the information is stored for as far as lifetimes or the whole thing with the Matrix. So that was dimension 1. And then I saw how we evolved from the quantum realm to dimension 2. And then the second dimension is basically, living organisms and cells. And then, we become plants, and then you become animals. So then that's kind of like the experience that we evolve from the quantum realm. And you become, organisms, and then you become microorganisms, and then you become plants, and then animals, and then you go, and then we evolve to dimension 3, which is the humans. That's dimension 3, and then we evolve to dimension 4, which is basically where we're heading to as a collective eventually. And the people that are awakening, that's the people that are starting to have access to the 4th dimension. So for me, the 4th dimension, it really is like what people have an NDE, and where people are having out-of-body experiences. That's the 4th dimension. So the way I've understood it, it's when people see the light, it's like the portal to the 4th dimension. So, and in the 4th dimension is where you start having access to all your parallel lifetimes. So once you enter the 4th dimension, you start becoming more like like a multidimensional human or a quantum human. I like to call it quantum human just because you start kind of like seeing how all your parallel lives are entangled, like quantum entanglement, and how they're all connected. And so then you start seeing in the 4th dimension that all lifetimes are connected. And then you start having access. At that point, you start understanding that they're all you, that all those lifetimes are really you. So then you can start having access to those other yous. Kind of like you start having access to those abilities, or you start having access to those, energies. Like if you had abundance, you were a king, or, you had some kind of wealth or whatever, then you can start attracting those things. So that's one of the things too that I love to share, with the world. And I would like to create a documentary about our multidimensionality, kind of like a multidimensional manifestation and multidimensional powers that we, as we're able to tap once we enter the 4th dimension. We can start having access to our multidimensionality, and then we can start also creating. Like if I want to create certain projects in my life or certain abilities, then I can start extracting them from my other selves, my multidimensional selves, and then bring it to this lifetime, which is something that I think is fascinating. I don't know, did you get to see the movie everything everywhere all at once. Did you see the movie?
I haven't seen that
You haven't
movie.
seen it?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's a good. It's not such a good movie, but it shows how this lady is able to bring abilities from other lifetimes. But of course, it's a Hollywood movie, so it's all like kung fu moves that they get from these parallel lives. But so that's like, but more or less for me, it's like you're able to maybe you have these gifts for that one lifetime, then you can bring them to this lifetime. So that's the fourth dimension where I was shown, and that where time and space collapses, and you realize that there is no time, that all lifetimes are really happening, at the same time. It's just at different frequencies. So this is the fourth dimension. And then at the fifth dimension, it's where you start becoming an ascended master. And that's when you actually become all your lifetimes at once. And so then that's what I was showing, that you become all of them. And then you become the collective throughout time and space on Earth. Like you can become, anyone throughout history. Christopher Columbus or anyone you can think of. If you think, oh, I want to become that person, then you can go to that space. So that's at the fifth dimension. And then also you can start exploring yourself as different beings in different planets. Like I was saying, that you can start, becoming other beings in different planets. So that's at the fifth dimension. And then at the sixth dimension, that's when you graduate from this whole, from becoming a human being or a sentient being. And then that's when you start becoming a creator. And that's where you start at the sixth dimension, you start becoming a creator of planets. And then you start creating planets. And then you start live in different planets. And then you also become those vehicles, you become the planets. So that's at the sixth dimension. At the seventh dimension, you start becoming a creator of suns. And then you can also become the sun, star. And then at the eighth dimension, you start creating galaxies. And then start communicating with different galaxies. And then you take the body of the galaxy. And then at the ninth dimension, you become the universe. And then when you become the universe, also I like to share, with your audience, is that in the universe, in the center of the universe, there's the great central sun, there's a sun at the center of the universe, which is our source. And all ideas that come to humans on Earth, they come from the center of from the great central sun, which is at the center of the universe. So I was able to see how all ideas and all technologies, everything is actually sent in frequencies from the center of the sun, from the great central sun, and then from the center of the universe. And then humans or different beings, get those ideas, and then they're downloaded into Earth, into this realm. But the origin comes from the center of the universe, which is the great central sun. And then that's the ninth dimension. And then the 10th dimension is where you become a creator of the multiverse. So you start creating different universes. And then you can become those universes. And then at the 11th dimension is you become the source. And the source is like this creator of all the multiverse. And then, so yeah, that's what I was shown as far as like the different dimensions in my experiences.
Now you saw all of these dimensions, right?
Yes. So I saw all these dimensions, and I became all those entities. Like I became a planet, and I became a star, a sun. And becoming a sun was like just all this love and bliss that comes out of the sun. All the flares is just love that comes out of the sun. So yeah, I became the sun. I became the galaxy. I became the universe. I became the multiverse, and I became the source. I became one with them. And again, so that's how we evolve. And again, that's everybody. So it's just levels of consciousness that we all evolve from dimension 1 to dimension 11.
How did you apply this knowledge of the dimensions to your life?
To my life, I mean, for me, it's just been more okay, I see where we're all heading to, and this is the messages that I want to, bring to the world, and I want to create documentaries, and I want to create different platforms and all this stuff just to help the world kind of understand all of this. That this is kind of like, and I'm putting together a model that I'm calling it Darwin 2.0. And I want to create a documentary kind of like to show this about the whole how we evolved from all these dimensions. And for me personally, I mean, I've always, I'm in the space of just gratitude and understanding. And I have a long way to go. For me, it's just having like a peak seconds of those dimensions. So I still have a long way to go. So I still have a few lifetimes to go to complete the cycle as well. So it just keeps you in a space of, being humble, and then in a space that you're just very grateful and you're very excited. I'm really so excited, like to just be able to have been shown that, kind of like see how we, that we can evolve to all those different dimensions of consciousness. So I would just say it keeps me in a space of just being very grateful and happy, and just enjoying every day. At the same time, I'm just in this realm right now, and I'm just enjoying every day, every moment, and try to, work on try to become master the lessons again. I'm not, I'm doing my best, and at the end, it's like I still have a couple more lifetimes, but it's at the end, it's just working on the lessons, mastering the lessons, and working, just spreading the messages of all these experiences and information that I've been given and downloaded from my experiences.
It's fascinating that you said you had your awakening after your NDE, because I would assume the NDE itself is an awakening.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I saw it as my initiation. So from NDEs, for me, is your initiation. Like that's the beginning of your journey. So that's when you're unplugged from the matrix, like like Neo in the Matrix. The NDE is just being unplugged, and then, because of course Neo had to go through the whole journey, right? I mean, it's like to understanding the matrix and becoming one with his higher self, and started becoming all those abilities and powers. So he started becoming one with his higher self, his multidimensionality, and higher levels of consciousness, and then realizing that this is all a simulation. That was the other thing too, that in my experience, when I was shown my life review, I realized that this was all my life. This had all been a dream. It was like, I was like, oh my God, that was all a dream. Like I couldn't believe it. Like it was like that was the real world, and this had been all a dream all along. And that's when I realized that, yeah, it's all a dream. It's all a simulation. So then I finally understood what, they talked about, the Buddhists and the Hindus talk about the Maya, the illusion. It's that, the masters, when they have these experiences, they have, they all had like an initiation, basically, all the masters. And so that's, they're able to see like, oh yeah, it's all an illusion, it's all a dream. So then they realize that they don't take things so seriously. I mean, it's not seriously, but like you understand, like everything that's going on right now in politics and war, you understand that there's a divine plan, and you understand it's all for the collective, for the evolution of the collective. So you have a different perspective for sure. So then you understand it's all an illusion, but it's all so that people can learn, it's all simulation, but at the same time, it's all, it's just cool, a simulation for like an experiment, so that we can learn and evolve.
Did you happen to notice any of the times that you had pre-birth planning? And if not, do you think that you planned this NDE pre-birth?
Yes. I definitely planned it this way. My whole life I've been traveling, and I just felt my whole life I felt like I was here on a vacation, and I didn't know why. Then I knew that I came, and I always felt like I came from somewhere else. Like I'm like, I don't know where I come from, but I come from, like I felt like I came from another planet. It was, it was weird, and I always loved the aliens and all this stuff. But I always felt like I was here on a vacation, and I've been traveling most of my life, and I lived in many, 11 countries, and I've been to like 33 countries. So I've been just traveling, and then I started with my experiences. So I feel like I wanted to travel for, part of my life, and then I wanted to start my experiences, my awakening, and then now I want to share. I want to start. I have a lot of ideas of a lot of projects that I want to create, and I want to just spread the messages to the world, and like you, and try to create different projects and different documentaries and series. I want to create a series on Netflix. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I want to do. So at the end now is just to spread the message. That's my work now, and share all this information with the world. So just to prepare the world for their awakening, right? Because it's for when people start being unplugged, like the Matrix. I mean, that's one of the most classical movies ever made, because then people start being unplugged, and then it's like, and it's, when I was unplugged from the Matrix, it was really hard because I didn't really have anybody. So then slowly I started meeting people. But now with technology and your podcast and all this stuff, it's a different world, So this is so crucial to have your, like your show, because then people are starting to have the experiences. and then people like me and other people are sharing their experiences. It's just such a huge benefit for everybody, because it's like we're just telling people what it's like to be unplugged from the matrix, so that people don't get so overwhelmed, because it was very overwhelming for me for a while. But then I started reading a lot of books, and then I started meeting people that had been unplugged too. And then it was, like, oh, great, you too had the experience. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like I went to the IANS conference, the International Association of Near-Death Studies, and I met a lot of people. And then, that's the wonderful thing about the IANS, the people that have the NDEs, it's all the same experience, more or less. And just people go to different, people would go like more in depth to it, or some people don't go as far. That just kind of depends how far people go. But at the end, it's the same experience for everybody. That's why if you do the show, you're doing hundreds of interviews, more or less, people are telling you the same thing. Here and there's different, and then that is like a big puzzle. So, so like a lot of them are the same, but there's some of them, share something that no one heard before. And then somebody else shares something, so it's like we're putting like a giant puzzle together, and to try to explain everything with NDEs. And, I'm talking about the different dimensions. And so, yeah, I think it's great that you're doing your show. So,
were you unplugged from the matrix during your NDE or your awakenings?
No, yeah. So for me, to being unplugged that's when I have my NDE. And that was the beginning of being unplugged. And then the awakening is just basically you already are aware of it, so that you can go back to that space, right? Then you go out of the matrix, and then you start exploring, the other realms, the dimensions, and the afterlife. So then you start astral projecting, and you start having all these experiences and seeing parallel lives, and then having just maybe seeing the different dimensions and just all this stuff. So that's just part of that's the journey that after you're unplugged from the matrix. So it's just then that's when the journey begins, and then you just slowly start having more and more experiences.
After your NDE, did you notice you had new abilities that could be considered psychic?
As far as new abilities, yeah, I would say that perhaps, yeah, I mean, out of body experiences. The out of body experiences are the abilities. I would say, just being able to have out of body experiences, and being able to start understanding our multidimensionality. I think that's, for me, that's where that's where my consciousness is now. Is like, oh my God, like I can really tap into my higher self. And now I'm at a point where I can start looking at all my parallel lives. And then I'm going to start bringing, different things from those parallel lives. So, yeah, definitely, and that's something that I want to, share with the world. And I want to create a documentary about all of this. Like, it's the whole thing with multidimensional powers or multidimensional manifestation. So being able to show the world and teach the world that we are multidimensional, and that once we are aware of our multidimensionality, that we can start bringing different abilities from those different realms or lifetimes, and different energies from those different lifetimes. So, it's, for me, it's the beginning of my journey of being able to be at that level. But, but yeah, that's definitely something that as you start having these experiences, then you start having access to just a higher level of awareness, and then you start implementing those into this lifetime. So yeah, it's been pretty fascinating.
What was your spiritual and or religious life like before your NDE, and how has it changed afterwards?
I mean, I just believed like there was some kind of source, God, but I never believed like, I was born Catholic, even from Mexico, but I never believed in, the whole thing with the religion. And then since I got to travel all over the world too, I would meet people from every religion, and then I didn't matter to me. I never really cared about that. And then I realized that there was love and light in every single human being, no matter where I went, no matter what religion they were from. So for me, it never really mattered. And I think I knew there was a source, but not like the religious way, that the God that they give. For me, it was more like I knew there was some kind of source, energy. I don't even know. It was just some kind of like light or energy sent, that it was the creator of everything. But I always felt like it didn't matter what religion they were from, that it was everybody was the same. And So not, but after my experiences is when I started to understand that, living parallel lives or reincarnation. And so that's, I would say that's kind of like what changed. And then start being aware of our multidimensionality, and then start being aware that this is all a dream, an illusion, and then start, being aware of the different dimensions. I mean, it changed in that aspect but before it didn't really matter to me. And, I was just like, I just knew that the source was like in everybody, or just, it didn't matter what religion people were, that it was all one. I don't know. I kind of somehow knew it, in a way, but not in this depth after my experience.
Did you happen to see during your NDE that you made a soul contract?
Yeah, I was able to see how the soul contracts are made, and I was able to sit, I was in a chamber. And I remember going into these chambers, and in those chambers there was like screens, and then you were able to go into the screens and play with those screens, kind of like in a video game. And then you were like looking into. And then I remember walking in, with different souls, and just saying like, "Oh, look, what if like in this lifetime, you can be my mom in this lifetime, and and you can be my dad, and or you can be my wife, or just different people that we ended up coming down and have a soul contract. And then we would see the movie like beforehand. We would see the movie like before you come down, so then you were able to see the movie, and then you would like see the scenarios, and then you would see what lessons you were going to learn, and then and then you agreed. And then that's where the soul contracts come in, where just through souls agree to like, okay, if we come down in this scenario, then I'm going to be teaching you certain things, and then you're going to be teaching you certain things. So there's always, and it's the thing that everyone really is your teacher, and you're teaching everyone as well. So, so in certain situations, it could be that you learn, maybe like from my mom, she's, taught me all about compassion and kindness, and, having integrity, honesty. So, that's what she's taught me in this lifetime. And then I also help her, to have faith, and then to be strong, and then, so then there's like, so they all souls, sometimes certain souls would be like, well, I'll be, maybe in this lifetime will be, be a heart lifetime, but then, you're going to learn about letting go, and you're going to learn about forgiveness. And then that's, it'll be a heart life, but, at the end, it's like, that's a learning. So no matter what, there's lessons, that's the whole thing with all these soul contracts. So even the hardships, even the hard lifetimes, or hard experiences, difficult experiences, that's, there's learning. So that's where people have to forgive, and that's where people have to let go, or that's where people have to find courage and be strong, because maybe they're not so strong, and they have to overcome, barriers. And that's where people have to let go. Letting go, I would say, probably is the most difficult life experience to master, is the letting go, right? Because it's like, you have to let go of people, you have to let go of experiences, you have to let go. If your child dies, or somebody dies in your family that you were really close to, it's that lesson is to, you got to let go. So there's soul lessons to be learned in every soul contract. And and then at the end I realized that all those lessons, again, the way I've understood it, that all of those lessons that we're here to learn are the same thing as the council of light, right? So when I have my NDE, each one of the councils represented a lesson or a virtue that we're here to learn. So even when we're able to see the soul contracts with the souls, then you go and see the council together. And then, then once you see the council, you're like, yeah, we're going to come down and have this experience, and we're going to learn. And then the council will be, okay, so kind of like supervising you, like, what are you guys going to do in this situation? Like, yeah, we'll take it like this and this. And then they'll be like, okay, that sounds good. Like, yeah. And then that's kind of like how you were able to create your soul contracts. Now, sometimes, this, I think, a question that some people have, like, well, what do you mean? Like, can they be broken, right? Because let's say someone, let's say, I don't know, like you were married and then you got separated, or you had a girlfriend, or whatever, separations come, or, situations come. So it doesn't mean that you broke the soul contract. It just means that that soul contract came to an end, because soul contracts come to an end. There's like even if it's for a whole lifetime, but at the end it comes to, so all soul contracts can come to an end as well. So it's not like you're breaking the contract. It's just you set time frames for soul contracts, and they're like, okay, this whole contract will be for this long, and then there'll be this learning curve for this experience, and then a new soul contract will come in. So if you have to be done with the old contract so that the new contract can begin. So once the old contract is gone, then you can start your new contract, and then so we have different soul contracts, with our parents, with our families, with our friends, with your wife, your spouse, your children. So there's different soul contracts. And then also I was able to see, like, before coming down, I was in a circle around many, I don't know, thousands of souls. And then that I knew were going to come into my life. And then I knew that we were all so excited and happy to come down to this realm. Like, we're like, yeah, man, we're like, we'll see you down there. And then so it was like, it was really fascinating to see that as well, that we were like all excited to come down to this realm and in that experience. So that's in my understanding of soul contracts as far as like how it goes.
Do you remember how many members made up the Council of Light and what virtues they are?
Yeah, I mean, again, I saw 12, but the numbers, it could be, people will see different numbers. I don't think it has to be 12, it has to be 10, 9. That doesn't matter. I think it's just like, at the end, it's just all the virtues, I would say, the compassion, and then many of them can fall under one, right? Like compassion, kindness, integrity, honesty, respect, forgiveness, letting go, I don't know, like just all the virtues, ethics and service, wanting to help people. And so at the end, it's just, learning all the virtues and lessons. And so one of the things I try to do, and it's like, okay, like this experience in my life, I try to decode it. And so then in this experience in my life, let's decode life lessons. So in this experience, I'm going to decode it. I'm going to take it apart. And then what's the lesson to be learned in this experience? Okay, because, I need to learn to let go, because I can't let go. I have a hard time. And because that's exactly what you need to do. You need to let go. And so that's the experience in this particular, experience. And so then I'm like, okay, and then what about this other experience? Well, I need to learn to be more patient. And then, okay, and that's, you kind of like understand it. Or, well, I need to learn to be honest, have the honesty. So then that's the lesson that I need to learn. And so then if you're able to decode the lesson, so that's how I try to, so then for me, it's like all the council lights, they bring you experiences in your life so that you can master those lessons. And if you don't master the lessons, you kind of keep like, not wanting to master the lesson, it'll keep coming back over and over and over until you're like, oh my God, you kind of like are forced to face the experience, then you're kind of like forced to, like, your higher self, it's always your higher self that will bring you the experiences. So sometimes certain experience will be overwhelming and too much, but it's because you have to let go, you have to learn a certain lesson, and it won't stop bringing you the experiences until you kind of like confront the experience and whatever it is. So at the end, I came to understand that it's really your higher self or the council of light. Also, I realized that the council of light, or those virtues, it was really that they're just our higher self, in the fifth dimension. So I became one with the council of light. So ultimately, the council of light is really you. It's really us. It's just fractions of your higher self. It's just a fraction of your heart. So because once we become an ascended master, then you become one with all the council, and then you become the council. Like, you basically becoming an ascended master is you're able to master all the lessons, and you basically become a council of light yourself, and just a higher being. So that was my understanding as well from all my experiences, in that ultimately, as we keep mastering the lessons, that ultimately are the goal, it's to become an ascended master or become one with the council of light. And then after that, then it's not the end. Like a lot of people think like, whoa, but once you achieve nirvana, that's the end. It's not the end. It's the beginning of the next level of experiences, where you can then become a really evolved being in a different planet. And, or then you can start becoming a creator of planets and start becoming a kind of like a god or a creator. And then you become a planet. And, so it's not the end. It's there's way more experiences to come, even when we finish the whole cycle of reincarnation. So, yeah, that's kind of like my experiences.
What kind of spiritual experiences are you having currently?
Currently, I would say that the most recent ones are the one that there's two they're current ones, and one of them, one of them was becoming the atom. I had become the atom before, but but this time when I became the atom, I realized as I became the atom that there were all the symbols flying, like thousands of symbols, exactly like in the movie The Matrix, and they're all white. Yeah, but then I realized that was something that people don't even know, or I don't know if other people have seen them or not, but that the atom, it's full of symbols, full of information, matrix, of the whole matrix information. So I believe that those symbols, they're really store information. They store information of all your experiences. So all your everything that's stored, like all your lifetimes and everything, it's everything's stored in your field or in your soul, or your electromagnetic field, or in your atoms. So so that's all that information is really in your atoms. Like, so if you're able to have a device that was able to read all your auras or your atoms, it will be able to show you all your lifetimes. So that's where I realized that all the atoms, all that information, all those symbols are just informations that store all your lifetimes. And then also I have come to realize from that experience that we can get to a point of consciousness that where we can manipulate the symbols, kind of like reprogram the symbols. And so let's say you want to reprogram the symbols and change the symbols or change the simulation. It's the same thing as changing the simulation or the program, like at the computer program. Like, you know what, okay, let me change the symbols. I'm going to change the structure of the simulation. So then you can maybe start changing your health. Like, if you don't have health, and then that's why people, that the masters, they were able to heal, like Jesus or other masters. That's because they're able to get to that level of consciousness and modify the symbols, and maybe heal someone. Or if you hear about gurus or someone that oh, maybe this guru could live forever, it's because they're able to modify the matrix and modify the symbols, and then they can stay young forever, or they can you can get to that level of consciousness. So that's what I've come to realize. And then the other one is tapping into our multidimensionality abilities or powers, where then where we as we start connecting more to our higher self, then we can start having access to our multidimensional selves or other lifetimes, and then we can start bringing in those abilities or energies from those other lifetimes. So those are the most recent that I've had, and where my evolution, where I'm heading to next in trying to learn and master. So yeah, that's my most recent experiences.
You mentioned that you wanted to do a documentary. Have you started on that? And if not, have you started on a book or anything?
Not yet, not yet. I barely, it's like we have, me and my girlfriend Linda, we have so many ideas. It's like that we want to do documentaries, we want to do a series on Netflix, we want to do platforms. There's an idea we have, creating supernova talks, which will be kind of like TED Talks, but bringing people to talk about quantum mechanics and consciousness, so that we can prove reincarnation or parallel universes theories. Understand that parallel universe theory is the same thing as reincarnation or parallel lives, and bring consciousness, corporate consciousness talks, and future like future ideas to create better future. So we have a lot of ideas right now. We're in the stage of ideas, and I think slowly we're going to start creating videos, and then start networking with the right people, and then start working with different producers, and then I want to write a book as well. So right now it's been a period of brainstorming ideas, and we're downloading a lot of ideas now. Again, like the way this whole thing works with downloading ideas, it's really fascinating, because like I say, it comes from the center of the universe. That's where all the information comes. They come in waves and frequencies, and then people are able to receive those information or those frequencies. So we have been receiving a lot of downloads and a lot of, for a lot of ideas that we got to manifest. So we're trying to put them all together, and then we're just waiting for the right people to work with, the right team, and then then as soon as that comes together, then we want to do a lot of nice things, just to try to help. But we have a lot of ideas with documentaries and also about the multidimensional manifestation. Want to create a documentary on that. And so, is there any film directors or anybody that's interested out there listening? You got to contact Rafael Garcia. And I have a website too, so that we can share. And the website, it's decodinglifelessons.com. And the other one is Supernova Talks, like you talk, so like TED Talks, but it's supernovatalks.com. And it's me, Rafael Garcia, and my girlfriend Linda Garcia, that we want to do a lot of this project. So we're definitely looking for the right team and people that are doing movies and documentaries, and because we have a lot of really amazing ideas that we want to share with the world, and we're ready to download them with everybody and just share the messages more than anybody, to help with people that are going to start having the experiences and to being unplugged from the matrix. I think doing documentaries and series and social media platforms we want to do, and apps and just different projects that we have in mind, and video games. Also video games. I think that's Linda came out with that idea that she wants to create video games. And so we have a lot of ideas that we want to download, and we're just ready, waiting for the right team, for the right energy. But we're getting ready. We're getting ready.
Well, after watching this podcast, people may want to reach out to you and ask you questions. Are you up for that?
Yeah, please. Oh, yeah. Anybody's welcome to contact me, and any questions you might have. Yeah, please contact me. And anybody interested in creating projects that with our ideas, I would love to. Yeah, I would love to. Please.
What's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, on my website, it's again www.decodinglifelessons.com. And the other one that I have right now is www.supernova, like an explosion, supernova, talks, TALKS.com. And those are the two websites that I have. And anybody interested in hearing more about my experiences, or anybody interested in working with our projects, we'd love to hear from them.
Rafael, before we finish up, can you leave us with one last positive message?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, that for the world to just, to realize that, that we're here on a holiday, that we're here to master lessons. And also, not to worry, because I know a lot of people are worried with politics and what's happening and all this stuff. And I would say, don't worry, because, the system is about to collapse in a way. It's going to be a lot of little chaos coming up soon. And I would just say, for the world, for people not to worry, that this is the divine plan, that the old system needs to be replaced with the new system. So, all the corruption and all the old systems need to kind of like come to an end, so then the new system can be replaced with a system that is based on integrity, that is based on justice, that is based on equality, on helping and working for the collective. So I would just say, don't worry about anything. Like, it's all divinely planned, and just focus on the positives, and focus on enjoying your life, and focus on seeing how you can make it, make your life better. And if you can improve something through doing the different talk shows, different podcasts, spread your messages, because everybody has a message to share. So, whatever is your gift, or whatever you want to share with the world, share it through podcasts like yours. There's different podcasts. So I would just say that if I follow your dreams, because I think that's the thing, to follow your dreams. So.
Rafael, thank you for that message, and thank you for being my guest.
Oh, thank you so much, Jeff. I really appreciate you, and I really hope you can be a part of our projects as well, because I think you're doing a great job. So I really admire you, and I really hope we can work together as well somehow in your future.
Thank you. Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.